Welcome back to Karmic Central. So, I have a message for you today. This one is going to be actually, I'm not exactly sure what the message is, but this is the video for the world news. Um, the update for today is again back to this global military coup. All right, this card, if you know the channel from before, this card has been coming up, but for the past like couple of months. Um, really, I want to say since it's almost been a year now. So whatever is going on in the government as far as like a surprise where the military takes over parts of the government, which is leading to this new regime that we're seeing unfold, that has a lot more story than we're being like let on. And I think I mentioned that in the last reading. Now, the next card that came out was a human trafficker, okay? Crimes of exploitation and forced labor. Now, this is where we're seeing this whole ICE situation play out. I think that I got a couple downloads about what's really going on with the people who are being captured. Some of them, of course, are being unalived, but then in other situations, they're being forced into some type of labor or some type of like concentration camp of some sort. Now, tampered devices came out after this. And this is where people need to be mindful of how they're using technology, because what I'm getting is that they are using our phones as a way to obviously surveil and track certain people, but with this whole stuff that's coming on with coming out about like TikTok and the new updated policies about like exactly where our information is going, who's controlling the TikTok algorithm and all of that. There's something going on with that that's significant. But it's like so in the last reading there was something about like us being more surveilled. This is about that, but it's also like a way to track people to see where they're going or how to get them into situations. Okay. Now, I also during the summer remember getting a download on Life 360. And for those that don't know what that is, it's like the app that you can basically use to track your loved ones or yourself or whatever, let other people know where you are. It's like, Find My Friends, but officially, I don't know. I think there's something going on as far as like their tracker. Now, I got to download that the people who like to move people around use that app as a way to kind of facilitate some of that. So some of that could be sent out from, a third party familiar person, or this could be sent out just as, the companies being like third parties that have sold out people, like sold out America to these apps. Now, there's something going on with like political leverage. Can you guys stop, please? Um, there's something going on as far as like political coverage or leverage. Singapore and NATO. Now, if I have this correctly, okay, guess what? I'm separating you guys now because I'm in the middle of a reading. Go to sleep. Sorry, y'all, I'm leaving that in. This is why I don't even do editing anymore because I don't have time. So Singapore, if I'm not mistaken, they have like the highest passport index. Like there's, and I didn't know this. I was literally like 2 days old ago yesterday where I found out about like the passports and how there's like a hierarchy. The United States used to be higher up on the list. I think right now we fall at like 10. Um, and there's a lot of discussion about American citizens may have to start showing proof of citizenship and all of that. Okay, so something going on where NATO, which is a military alliance to global defense strategies, they're also involved in international conflicts and power struggles. They are dealing with something and trying to leverage that over Singapore or vice versa. Now, this is where stuff can kind of get a little hectic because at the center of the reading, we have heist within, embezzlement or theft orchestrated by trusted insiders. And this is smack dab in the middle. Okay. Right next to that is the quiet enforcer, someone who imposes rules or punishment with stealth and precision. And the sleeper agent, someone embedded within a system waiting to act for a hidden agenda. Now, this is my reading that I did. I don't even know what it was called. I don't remember the thumbnail, so I'm sorry, I can't use it as a reference. But there was something, and I don't know if it was this channel or the old channel. So there was something going on with how I was saying the it was like a takeover of some sort, but the people who we are dubbing as them versus us, like that narrative is switching and changing a lot because people are not recognizing this is not a red and blue fight. This is not a Dems versus the Republicans. This is not the Gestapo Trump regime against the people. Like this is deeper than what you think. It's a lot more sectors within other sectors. It has nothing to do. That's how it's kind of like that's the distraction. Okay. Now we have the angel of justice, which we talked about this before on the channel. If you're new here, maybe you don't know, but angel of justice, a lot of times that was in Trump's reading, okay? That he either is showing up as this energy or this is the energy that's behind him, acting like the angel of justice. But I did pick up on last year, there were some things that were going on as far as like Trump and him being not confused. There's another word for it where it's like he has certain things on an agenda, but there's like all these other groups that are working within that agenda for their own personal gain in some way or their stake in this game, whatever that may be. All right. False prophet is here, and we have China. Okay. So, China, we know that they focus on tech dominance and global influence and territorial kind of expansion is like their thing, right? They could be trying to expand some of their territory into Brazil. Somebody let me know in the comments if there's something going on with Brazil and new territory being declared by China, or them buying up large parts of land similarly to what they did with the United States. So there's something about that. Now, underneath this human trafficker card with the angel of justice, we have fake ID used. There is something about the IDs, the passports, like identification is going to become more of a thing. And I remember 5 to 10 years ago, they started coming out with like, different features that you could add onto your new ID, like the real ID situation. You have TSA pre check for your passport, global entry. What other thing they have? And it's just these different little quote unquote upgrades. And if I'm not mistaken, too, if you were to check on your local DMV to like get a renewal of your license, like there's something about a date. And I only remember this from when I was living in New York. At one point, I forget, I think I had to get my passport renewed, or maybe it was just my license, but there was something about like a deadline for everybody who needed to get like your ID has to be a real ID at a certain point. Like that deadline may already be a thing. But anyway, the fake ID that is being used, it's like the ICE, whoever the ICE agents are, they could be drumming up information about other people as far as their identification. They could also be doing something where it's like they are um attempting to like disguise who they are. Now we know that they do that. Like physically they cover their faces. They are a lot of times masked. But there's something about their IDs and how they're using and moving people around. Um And this also makes me think about the whole conversation that's been drumming up on TikTok the last week or so about people finding out that their passports are invalid or marked as lost or stolen without their knowledge. And they only find this out once they travel. Now, the small caveat with that is a lot of them have not expressed any issue or inability to travel outside of the country. But when it comes down to getting back in the country, um they or they can travel domestically in and out, but it's something about, I think I'm getting the story a little messed up. Somebody let me know in the comments. It's something about like their ID not being tracked on certain systems. So maybe Interpol has you marked as like having a lost or stolen passport, and on top of that, Interpol is looking at you and saying that you're a domestic terrorist. So it's like people are getting flagged and profiled incorrectly, and I think that's what the fake ID situation is about. It's like profiling people but incorrectly. Sacrificial agenda, politicians participating in symbolic or actual sacrifices for power and control. A journalist is here now. This tells me that there's going to be a story that comes out soon that's going to be talking about either our identification and our information being, I mean, this might be the story that has come out today in the last couple of days or so, where it was mentioning how TikTok has sold the algorithm to US companies. And there's these three major companies. They all have like AI related like accolades, I want to say. But they're there's these subgroups or sub parties of lists of companies that we know of. So like Hulu, MTV Plus, BET, Apple TV, I think, um, some other names. It was like Amazon. It's a little list, and you can go fact check this. Don't listen to me. There's something about them being the main people who now control the algorithm. Oh, there were also news media networks involved too. I think like Fox was one of them. But either way, this is going to, now the issue is that one, it's not anything new for them to be talking about them surveilling us and us being aware of it. But what is new, Bossy, please. What is new is the fact that we are now having to either really just succumb and agree to being sold in this way, where you know our digital assets are being sold out to companies in a way to kind of like circle back to us, so sell us things that we don't need, find out more information about us. And this it's a vicious cycle going on where companies are just um we are literally little pawns. Now we know about how the stock market works, and we're kind of like these entities on the stock market that people are bidding against or on or whatever for or whatever. I'm oversimplifying it, but you know what I'm talking about, the straw man shit. So with the straw man shit, it's beyond that. Like it's like the straw man, but they have taken all of our straw. Like we're not even straw people anymore. Like we're beyond that. Like we're the lowest of the low in terms of our energy and the market and how the economy flows. The way that they look at humans is very dispensable. That's where we get these human traffickers, people who are involved with that. One, that's everybody in power, whether they know exactly the full operation or not. There's a bunch of people who are complicit in a lot of that. Also, what I picked up on with the ICE situation and this story that's coming out right now is I'm picking up on part of why ICE is at certain places is not just about the illegal immigrants and trying to get them out or deported. Two things here. One, there is the self deportation app. Okay. This is being used incorrectly. They are telling people that they can self deport. Yes, I'm pretty sure you can come up with at least one person that you know or have heard of that has done the self deportation. However, they're using it as a way to exploit people depending on how their profile, remember I mentioned something about profiling, how depending on however that comes up, that is what determines whether or not they go to a concentration camp, whether or not they get to be, like in a detention center, whether they go to a place that's unnamed at this point, like alligator Alcatraz, like that might not technically exist anymore. That was more so, I think, about like testing the public's reaction to certain things. But more on that later. So the other small caveat with that is that ICE is going to places. Again, all of this is, I don't want to even say alleged, but I listen. You, if you've stumbled upon this message in my channel, obviously you may possibly be an intuitive yourself, so you can have a certain level of discernment to pick up on whether or not this is true. All right, now I'm saying all this because there is some sticky topics within here. They're using the self deportation to trick people into basically profiling themselves. But ICE is also going to these states where a lot of the trafficking has been occurring. Now, if you keep seeing, there's certain things that they want you to see in the headlines. Hold on one second.